What's going on, Rebel family? This past weekend, Errol Spence Jr. and Yordanis Ugas fought a unification bout to unify three of the belts at the welterweight division, boxing welterweight division. Errol Spence Jr. held the WBC and the IBF titles, and Yordanis Ugas held the WBA title. Congratulations for both of them to both of them, but a special congratulations to Errol Spence Jr. He actually won the bout by TKO. He stopped Yordanis Ugas, and but something happened during the fight that it plays a very good lesson for brothers in real life. But there was one incident in the sixth round that happened, and I'm gonna just play that clip so you can actually see it. And here it goes.
Errol Spence was pushed back. Now the mouthpiece comes out, and Morrow is correct. Yeah, see? He thought, where are you going to stop this and get the mouthpiece? Instead, Ugás correctly kept punching. And Laurence Cole didn't see the mouthpiece go out. And you...
Okay, so right here, so what happened in the sixth round, Errol Spence Jr. was hit with the uppercut, and Errol Spence Jr.'s mouthpiece flew out. And in a bit of confusion, Errol Spence Jr. went looking for his mouthpiece, and he got hit with a 2 or 3 4-piece combination by Ugás, and it hurt Errol Spence Jr. And this is what I want to focus on. So right here, I paused it right here so you could actually see the impact and where the mouthpiece flies out of Errol Spence's mouth.
See Spence kind of motioning, so the mouthpiece would come out
right there.
This kind of
there's the mouthpiece.
Right uppercut.
Okay.
And while Spence is fixated on the mouthpiece,
so see, he goes chasing the mouthpiece. So here we go.
He will get nailed by a right hand by Ugás. Now, was Laurence Cole coming in to try and stop the action? That may have added to the confusion.
See, and it is fortunate for Errol Spence that he wasn't fighting someone like Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford would have jumped all over him when he was hurt, and he would have kept punching and not given the ref time enough to actually stop the action, because the ref only stopped the action because Ugás stopped. But if Ugás would have kept punching, the ref wouldn't have stopped the action to get the mouthpiece. He would have. They typically stop the action or wait till there's a lull in the action to grab the mouthpiece and give it back to the fighter. But there's something about that particular incident that, you know, it's a learning lesson, it's a life lesson. But before we do that, I want to hear Errol Spence, and I want to hear Errol Spence's take on what actually happened at that particular point in time. So I'm going to play that here.
Looked like you got caught in the sixth round. Your mouthpiece went out. You turned away, and then you took a couple of shots. What happened there?
Well, I thought the ref had said stop, so I stopped, and then you still hit me with like 3 or 4 shots. So, you know, that's my fault. That was a rookie mistake on myself. You know, you're supposed to protect yourself at all times, and I didn't do that at all.
Were you? So there he says, you know, he got hit with the mouthpiece. And the same thing happened to him in the Danny Garcia fight. It wasn't as evident because he didn't get as hurt in that fight. Same thing, Danny Garcia didn't take advantage of it. But you know, Ugás did take advantage of it. He hit him with a couple of shots, and you can see Errol was clearly dazed. He wasn't out on his feet, but he was clearly stunned. And he wants to fight with Terence Crawford. And if that happens with Terence Crawford, if he has a mental lapse in the ring with Terence Crawford like that, it's going to be a bad day for Errol Spence. It was almost a bad day in that regard, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, what? Because Errol Spence was doing pretty good in the fight, and he was controlling the fight up until that point. And I think that's probably the only round that he lost. I think on all scorecards, he lost that round. Obviously the fight was stopped, but I think that's the only round that he lost, and it was because, of a momentary lapse in judgment here at his part, because he didn't protect himself at all times, and he went to chase a mouthpiece, which I understand it, because by nature boxers, a lot of them are very superstitious. Athletes in general are very superstitious. A lot of them have certain things that he do, like Michael Jordan. The reason why he started wearing the NBA is famous now for wearing larger shorts in the game because he couldn't wear those like little pum pum shorts that the Lakers and the Pistons and the Celtics and the Sixers were wearing back in the '80s, early '80s, because Michael Jordan would wear his UNC, his North Carolina shorts under his Bulls shorts, as it was a superstitious thing. So he had to get bigger shorts. So that became fashion, and because Michael Jordan was so dominant, he was so good, that caught on, and and younger basketball players took that as a bit of a style, but it wasn't style; it was superstition. He couldn't wear the little shorts because he had on his North Carolina shorts under his Bulls shorts. So fighters can be very superstitious, and I'm wondering if that's what was the deal with Errol Spence, because he obviously had a mouthpiece that didn't fit his mouth. It wasn't because after the car accident, he lost his teeth. In fact, he said how his daughter, one of his daughters, was saying, like Daddy, where's your teeth? Because he in the car accident he lost. I think it was his top teeth, his top row of teeth. So it seems to me that with all the money and all the thing, why wouldn't you just get a mouthpiece that fits the way your teeth fit now? Because this is two fights that you have lost your mouthpiece. You've gotten hit, and then the mouthpiece flies out. And those mouthpieces are very difficult, to take out if it fits your mouth. But so maybe it's a superstitious thing that he's holding on to some of the mouthpieces that he's had in the past, but they clearly don't fit his mouth. And he did say that he's going to make sure that he gets a mouthpiece that fits. But let me keep going here.
You out on your feet for a moment or two there?
No, I wasn't out on my feet. I turned and looked at my mouthpiece, and then he hit me, and I was like, oh shit. Well, they just kept hitting me. I was like, oh damn. And then when I tried to put my hands up, he had stopped anyway because the ref had jumped in. So it was all right.
Yeah, and see, it wouldn't be all right. It'll be a bad day for him if he's in the ring with Terence Crawford and that happens. It's going to be a very bad day for it, because Terence Crawford is a dog. He will absolutely take advantage of that. But that's the incident that happened that I wanted to talk about as a life lesson for brothers, just in general. Obviously to protect yourself at all times, but the mental lapse, the rookie mistake, to chase your mouthpiece. Look, there it is right there. Chases his mouthpiece and he gets rocked. He was discombobulated, right? So that's the mental lapse that I want to discuss, because I did a video on the Chris Rock and Will Smith slap during the Oscars, and Will Smith. A lot of the narrative in that video, I didn't cover one of the narratives that was floating around about Will Smith and Chris Rock. A lot of people kept saying that Will Smith had a mental lapse. Oh, everybody has a mental lapse. Everybody has a momentary lapse in judgment. That happens to everybody. He's human. He has a mental lapse. So on and so on. And that mental lapse is costing Will Smith big time. And it is not even funny, the things that's happening to Will Smith because of that incident. Will Smith's talent agency talked about dropping him. There are movie companies are pausing movies that he was signed on to star in. Bad Boys 4, what are the movies? Fast and Loose. They're taking some of his movies that he's already starred in, like I, Robot, and what is the other movie? The zombie movie that he had, I Am Legend. They're taking those movies off of some of the streaming platforms. So that quote unquote mental lapse is costing Will Smith a lot of money. It cost him his reputation. He's the laughing stock at this point. It is costing him money. His brand is severely damaged. The Will Smith brand is damaged. You know, there's a lot of black people saying, "Well, you can't cancel Will Smith." We have no control over that because we don't employ Will Smith. We don't write the checks to put Will Smith in movies. So it's not up to us whether or not he's being canceled. It is up to those who decide they want to pay him or not pay him who's going to cancel Will Smith. And obviously, you know, he has enough money that he doesn't have to, um, you know, he doesn't have to go anywhere. And I saw reports that I haven't seen anything confirmed. I just heard rumors that okay, he is now contemplating divorcing Jada. He just doesn't want to give up half of the 350 million because in L.A. the L.A. divorce three. If you had to give up half of the 350 million to have peace of mind, I would think it's worth it because you have another 175 million or whatever it is that you can. You're not going to spend that money in your lifetime, so what does it matter anyway? I don't even understand that mentality. But who am I? I'm not a guy who's worth 350 million dollars, so I don't know. But my peace of mind and 150 and 175 million dollars is better than I'm just constantly with a woman who obviously, and you know, she threw him under the bus and said, I don't need protection and all that kind of foolish. Didn't even back him up after all the bullcrap that he did and went through. Now you still throwing him under the bus. So $175 million in peace of mind is better than $350 million and being with the recalcitrant woman. No, thank you. Or at least in my book. Whatever money that I have, half of that in peace of mind is better than all of the money that I have and being with a woman who is just, you know, just my downfall. But anyway, brothers, you know, that's the lesson that I wanted to point out, that you know, Will Smith is absolutely that mental lapse in judgment, so called. That's what a lot of people were defending it as, a mental lapse in judgment, that it is costing him big time. Uh, with with Errol Spence Jr., that mental lapse in judgment, or that rookie mistake, as he called it, which was it was he was very honest. That's why he's the truth, right? He told the truth about that. It was a rookie mistake. I didn't protect myself at all times. He went chasing the mouthpiece, and it nearly cost him the fight. A fight that he actually cruised through it. Like, you know, it was a very good fight, a very entertaining fight, and uh, he clearly won that. It was very easy to score that fight. Very, very one-sided. I felt the fight was very one-sided. Errol Spence looked strong in that fight, and look what he did to Ugás. You know, and again, shout out to Ugás and his family. It turns out that the brother wind up. I think they said his orbital bone was fractured. Like, this came out like this. The fight was stopped because the brother couldn't see out of his eye. I mean, look at that. I mean, sheesh. I mean, I'm looking at his eye. I'm like, yeah, Doc's gonna stop this pretty. This is not. I think his eye started around the seventh or eighth round. I think he really, the eye was, you know, and was really looking bad around the seventh or eighth round. And you know, this is, I think this is right as the doc stopped the fight, and you know, you saw that coming. You know, Stevie Wonder saw that stoppage coming because his eye looked so bad, and the brother wanted to keep fighting, but brother, it isn't worth, you know, your health. You put up a hell of a fight. You know, hell of a, you beat hella he beat hella odds to get to where he was, to escape from Cuba, and to get here and, you know, become a world champion and defeat Manny Pacquiao, send Manny Pacquiao into retirement. So shout out to your Dennis Ugás, but you know, he did have an opportunity to win the fight. He just didn't capitalize on it because of, you know, Errol Spence's rookie mistake. So, brothers, yes, we are all human. We are all human beings. We all have mental lapses in judgment, but understand those mental lapses in judgment can really cost you, and it nearly cost Errol Spence Jr. his two titles and a shot potentially to be undisputed to face Terence Crawford. And you know, like he said, that rookie mistake, and that's what Will Smith did. He made a rookie mistake because, you know, Chris Rock said a benign joke. It wasn't even a real hard jab at Jada Pinkett, and you lose your cool and think you're some Richard Williams protecting your family. When he was doing all that kind of stuff, he didn't have anything to lose. He had everything to gain. He was actually trying to put his family in a position and put his daughters in a position to where they could be successful. So he didn't have anything to lose. It- you know, you didn't see Richard Williams out there fighting once those girls became world champions. Will Smith has real problems, and it's just a sad tale that no matter how quote unquote successful you are, brothers, sometimes you have to strengthen your mental, and you got to be on your mental game, and Will Smith is off of his. So again, be aware of the rookie mistakes. We all gonna make mistakes and have lapses in judgment and so forth, but understand that you can't then just use that as an excuse, because there will be consequences to whatever rookie mistakes you may have or mental lapses in judgment that you may have. There are consequences to follow, and we just will have to see the fallout for Will Smith. But those are my final thoughts. Peace, Rebel family. Peace, Rebel family.